It's 9:23 CST on the 26th of July 2025. In the South China Sea, about 180 nautical miles from China's coast, the cruiser USS Princeton suddenly detects an unknown warship on radar closing fast. Alarms blare. Sailors sprint to battle stations. Across the deck, hatches slam as missile crews arm their launchers. Above, the roar of engines signals fighter jets scrambling from the carrier USS Nimitz. Then the tension spikes. The Chinese destroyer's fire control radar locks directly onto the American carrier group. In the Combat Information Center, sailors freeze for half a second. Everyone knows what that means. It's not a drill. A red line has been crossed. Seconds stretch like hours. Radios crackle, officers shout bearings, and the sea itself feels charged with static. Out on the horizon, streaks of light cut the sky. Chinese J-15 fighters launching from the Shandong carrier. The air is electric. The next move could decide whether thousands of lives survive or vanish beneath the waves. The South China Sea isn't empty water. It's a main artery of trade. Tankers, cargo ships, and fishing fleets pass daily, carrying fuel, food, and parts that keep life moving from Asia to America. Tonight, hundreds of civilian vessels share these lanes, and their safety rests on a thin gray line of U.S. warships holding station. The USS Nimitz Strike Group isn't here for show. It's here to keep the lanes open, visible, steady, and credible. That means protecting U.S. supply chains and the trust of allies who count on the Navy to stand firm. If this mission fails, the shock spreads far beyond the horizon. Cargo slows, insurers raise rates, shelves at home run light. Allies start asking if America still keeps its word. Across the water, China's Shandong carrier group advances. J-15 launch in pairs, their mechanical radar searching while USEA-18G Growlers pour noise across the spectrum. Overhead, an E-2D Hawkeye fuses contacts on Link 1-6, so no one fights blind. A Type 52D destroyer holds a fire control lock on the American formation, a shove in daylight meant to test resolve. Washington cannot accept that. Freedom of navigation is law and habit. For the crew on USS Princeton, the order is clear. Hold the line, deny any claim of control, and show the flag without firing first. The ship's SPY-1 radar, layered missiles, and escorting Arleigh Burke destroyers give reach and depth. A Virginia-class submarine trails unseen, reminding both sides every move has a cost. This isn't just steel versus steel. It's rules versus coercion. If the US blinks, the map shifts. If China yields, the lanes stay open for all. Your call if you think the US must not back down. Press 1. If you believe China will keep pushing until someone breaks, press 9. 9:35 CST. The first roar comes from the east. China's Shandong carrier launches J-15 fighters in quick bursts one after another, their engines leaving bright plumes over the horizon. From the deck of USS Nimitz, American Fa-18EF Super Hornets leap skyward to meet them. The order is clear. No one gives the other side uncontested airspace. 9:37. The Combat Information Center aboard USS Princeton tracks more than a dozen fast-moving returns. The crew marks them red hostile, inbound. Tension snaps into action. The captain calls for readiness on SM-6 interceptors, the long-reach weapon stored in her vertical launch cells. Sailors move with practice speed. Hatches crack open. Missiles wait. High above, the E-2D Hawkeye becomes the quarterback. Its wide radar scans the sky, sending every dot through Link 1-6 so that every US jet and ship shares the same picture. No surprises. At the same time, EA-18G Growlers switch on full electronic attack static, false echoes, phantom targets, flood Chinese screens. The J-15 pilots can see, but they can't trust what they see. 9:45. The first lock warnings shriek inside US cockpits. Chinese fighters light up radars, pushing toward missile range. But the Americans act first. From deep inside Princeton's hull, a thunder rolls as two SM-6 missiles streak into the sky. Each costs millions, but each buys seconds, space the carrier group needs to breathe. The contrails climb high, arcing fast toward the threat. Seconds later, another layer comes alive. USS Nimitz escorts Arleigh Burke destroyers launch ESSM, short-range interceptors designed to cover closer arcs. Their trails cut lower across the water, ready to swat down anything that slips through the first line. The defense is stacked, long, medium, short. Every sailor knows the drill. Keep the carrier alive at all costs. The horizon flashes white. Explosions bloom in the distance where missiles meet their targets. For a heartbeat, the crew exhales. Then new blips appear more. J-15, more missiles, more pressure. The first shots have been fired, but the fight is only beginning. This isn't practice anymore. It's the real thing. 10:12 CST. Radar aboard USS Princeton lights again. A second wave bigger, faster, more coordinated drives at the carrier group. Not just fighters now. Chinese destroyers hurl long-range missiles high into the sky. The air thickens with threats. On board, the crew shifts tactics. ESSM swats some tracks, but a few slip through. Princeton heals a few degrees to narrow its radar profile and align defenses. Steel groans as waves slam the hull. The captain's voice stays flat. Stay locked. No gaps. 10-18. CIWS spin up with a rising whine. They're the last line, throwing thousands of rounds a minute. Gunners' watch icons crawl inward. Everyone knows, if this line fails, steel gets hit. Overhead, Super Hornets dogfight J-15. Tracers cut the sky. Flares pop, and the air turns messy. China pushes hard, but US Growlers keep breaking locks. Every second of jamming is a second the fleet stays alive. 10:22. The E-2D calls a fresh picture. Ghosts mixed with real threats. Princeton's SPY-1 trims clutter, ranks targets by time to impact, and pushes clean cues to escorts over Link 1-6. On the bridge, the navigator threads a tight course between bearings, shaving seconds. Spray whips the bow. Each turn buys breath, nothing more. 10:24. Damage control team stage hoses and masks. The chief engineer shifts power to sensors and guns. Galley lights dim to keep juice in the fight. Deck crews haul fresh ammo cans, swap hot barrels, and wipe grit from visors. Chaff rockets, cough silver clouds. A decoy drone skips low, stealing a hostile lock for a precious heartbeat. The ship smells of cordite and hot metal. Volume grinds down nerves. Alarms rise again. The crew cycles weapons faster than planned. SM-6 stocks drop. ESSM thin. Intercepts sparkle on the horizon, but new blips keep blooming. Sweat beads. The math is brutal. Eventually, something gets through. 10:27. A missile skims low. Princeton twists hard. Guns coming to bear. CIWS erupts. Orange tracers stitching the air. A tight blossom of fire marks the kill too close. For the first time, the margin feels paper thin. This is no longer theory. It's survival. Minute by minute, second by second. Every flicker on the scope could be the one that breaks the shield. Comment below if you believe US defenses hold under this pressure. Press 1. If you think China's relentless push will find a gap, press 9 and subscribe so you don't miss what breaks next. 11:3. Just as US crews think the pace might ease, a new alarm cuts through. This time, the threat isn't from the sky, it's from the sea. Low, fast objects skim the surface, hugging waves where radar is weakest. China shifts tactics. Sea-skimming missiles and fast attack craft rush forward, designed to punch through the shield. For sailors on USS Princeton, this is the nightmare. High-flying threats can be shot down early, but weapons racing feet above the water give only seconds to react. The command center jolts alive. The captain calls for Virginia-class submarines support its silent shadow near the Chinese carrier now becomes a card in play. 11:8. Growlers jamming helps, but sea skimmers don't rely on radar locks for long. They dive low, nearly invisible until cresting over waves. Princeton swings hard, cutting water to narrow angles and bring batteries on target. Deck crews ready, short-range interceptors, and CIWS. Gunners brace, eyes locked on the horizon. One slip, 1 second late, and steel rips into steel. Then, a call from below. The Virginia-class SSN, lurking unseen, breaks silence. It has surfaced 6 nautical miles from Shandong. Its presence forces Beijing to pause, pushing further now-risk torpedoes into their carrier's hull. The twist lands heavy. Hunters become hunted. Still, the missiles keep coming. Princeton's crew has no time to celebrate. The captain grips the rail, watching icons close. The only question left: can defenses catch every last one? Comment below. If you think the US submarine's bold move turned the tide, press 1. If you believe China will keep pressing until overwhelm comes, press 9. 11:19 CST. The horizon is chaos. Smoke trails cross the sky, jets weave and dive, and alarms pound every deck. The second wave is blunted, but the third closes in. These are the hardest to stop. Shorter flight times, tighter angles, faster speed. Every sailor feels it. The fight has reached knife range. 11:21. The captain calls, "All batteries, free fire!" Princeton unleashes everything left. SM-6 and ESSM leap from their cells in rapid succession. On deck, CIWS spin hot, barrels glowing as they pour steel into the air. The ship feels alive, shuddering with each launch and burst. Overhead, Super Hornets dive on J-15, flares burning as missiles streak past. Growlers scream static, denying clean locks. The air is a storm, jets and missiles crossing in deadly arcs, each second closer to collision. 11:25. One missile breaks through. It skims the waves, slipping past interceptors. Princeton turns hard, engine straining. CIWS track fast, hurling a torrent of rounds. At the last instant, the warhead blossoms into fire just off the bow. The ship shakes, spray crashing over sailors. They taste salt and smoke, but know they're still afloat. 11:28. The Virginia-class SSN holds close, forcing the Shandong group to backpedal. China can't risk its carrier, not with a US submarine waiting. Under pressure, J-15 break off, leaving a sky littered with smoke and trails. The assault has failed for now. Silence doesn't come. Radios crackle with reports, damage control teams sweep compartments, and the captain steadies his voice. "We held, but this isn't over." Around the fleet, sailors breathe out, shoulders sagging. They know it was a close call, too close. 11:31. The E-2D Hawkeye rebuilds the picture. False tracks fade, real ones settle. Below, corpsmen tape a wrist, while ordnance crews reload and sweep brass. Chaff residue drips past the rails. No cheers, just nods and checks for the next dot. The battle shows one truth. In a fight this close, every decision is life or death. Comment below. If you believe US resolve forced China to blink, press 1. If you think Beijing only pulled back to strike harder next time, press 9 and subscribe so you don't miss what happens when the storm returns. 12:2. The sea is calmer, but the silence feels fragile. The Princeton's crew moves through the ship, patching dents, sealing leaks, and reloading what little remains. Exhaustion shows on faces, but so does relief. They stood against wave after wave and held. The cost is clear. Dozens of interceptors are gone, ammunition reserves thinned, and sailors know resupply will take days. Each Chinese missile forced million-dollar responses. The balance sheet is brutal. Cheap weapons traded for expensive defense. Yet the US ships still float, the carrier still sails, and the lanes remain open. For Washington, the message is double-edged. America proved it can still defend the seas with layered force, but Beijing proved it can challenge that defense with relentless pressure. The clash was short of shooting war, but only just. A single mistake could have tipped it. Across the region, allies watch closely. Nations that rely on free passage weigh what they saw. The US held fast, but at rising cost. Insurance markets tremble. Traders take note, and defense planners adjust their maps. Beijing, meanwhile, retreats in silence, its warships shadowed but unbroken, already calculating the next test. On board the Princeton, the captain gathers his crew. "We held the line today, but the line will be tested again." His words echo through steel corridors, A reminder that tonight's survival is not the end, only a pause before the next storm. The result is simple. The US Navy stood firm, China stepped back, and the South China Sea remains contested ground. But the deeper impact is this: each clash erodes stability, each standoff raises the risk of sparks catching fire. Out here, geometry, networks, and doctrine are fate. Whoever adapts faster owns the next hour at sea. So where do you stand? If you believe America's resolve keeps the seas free, press 1. If you think China's persistence will eventually change the map, press 9 and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this unfolding conflict.